अर्जुन भाई स्टार्ट कर दी तो
here.
Hi, I'm Sandhya and I'm looking forward to the presentation. The topic is very interesting.
Oh, thank you so
Yes.
much.
Yes.
I tried to do something a little different. So I didn't know if anybody would show up.
Oh,
Because it's so different to all.
I did, she did. That's it, that's enough.
I like small groups. Small groups are nice. So I was wondering why you didn't combine one and talk with someone else.
the topics today are so different that we can't combine.
Some of them are quite similar though, so it's easy to put them together, which is what they've been doing.
Yeah, but today we were looking at it as a topic. We talked about challenges and what's
Oh, is that yours? I want to come to that too.
put it in anything else.
Yeah.
I would combine with her because I'm speaking at 4:45 as well.
And yours is about.
My thing is, I think the opposite and teacher talk to me out.
Oh. Like, can you teach you?
Both are interesting.
Because we have a saying, turtles' decisions to a giraffe. Similar.
What decision?
Thank you. A turtle's decision to a giraffe. Because they live in very different worlds. So the giraffe is going, okay, okay, so can we start? Yeah. Do you start? This is right. Start. Okay. Then what's your job? Can I sit there? Yeah. Okay. Yes.
Excellent 13 is very similar to that. You want to come and it's very intense, so we're thinking I can get you to join us. Yes. In the meantime, Ms. Mumtaz, you can do your picture now. Do you want to use your memory stick?
What is yellow? We are telling people, but they're very Please. No, my dad was a big freak of
That's okay. So maybe you can do it from the south. Are they going to yes, they're going to show it. Okay. The street and
Give me 2 minutes. Alright, you need to come around and check again? No problem. Come in. We have an interesting topic.
Yes, I'm a soft skill trainer. I do culinary food, teaching, culinary cooking, and soft skill trainer, and event planner. And I have an NGO.
Lots going on.
And I have an NGO where I have 100 children on my waiting list.
And in your NGO, what do you do?
We educate them, primary education. With one meal in one day. Free. Food.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
To connect to
You're next, right? In about an hour. Yeah. Awesome.
This is in a welfare state, so the government doesn't offer stats like in Europe. So this is for specific people.
Could we do
You're fine to go on middle class.
the key is to make it preventive care.
Preventive. Okay, so like annual exams, preventive.
Everything you can get everything actually we have working for we have agents and we have
You don't find out
pills
what stage for cancer.
what is Tropica, but it's more on we have only 2 seasons. Yeah.
Monsoon.
Every month, and it's like in a state. That's very interesting.
Oh, sorry.
This also empowers the patients. And that's what we want. Because right now, with the internet, everybody's trying to self-diagnose themselves. And everyone feels like the insurance company has more power than medical staff.
There is room 7.
Are they coming? Sure. Okay, great. So they're not coming? They might trickle in, but we'll start in the meantime. It's about 16.
Great. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for being here. We have an interesting topic, at least one that is close to my own heart, involving travel, and it's titled Social Innovation. How travel helps entrepreneurs solve social problems, both locally and globally. To take us through this, please welcome Joanne Hamilton from the US.
From the UK. How did you say?
Yeah.
For the recording and
Yeah,
stuff.
recording.
I can chill up if you stand.
No, I move around.
Yeah, right.
Between. I just feel like I'm being really loud.
Do you need me to navigate?
Hello, everyone. So thank you for coming to my session. I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself and then I'll jump right in. Just to let you know, this is a very interactive session. So you'll be doing a lot of talking. It won't be me standing and talking at you for most of the time. So it says here that I'm from the UK. I'm actually from the West Indies, from the Caribbean. I was born and raised there, but I've lived in a few countries. I've lived in the US, I've lived in the UK, I've done some work in certain parts of Asia. And in terms of my professional background, I've worked in the corporate industry, property and construction for about a decade. And then, like most people, I decided I don't want to do this anymore. So I recently started a social enterprise, which is called Secret Birds. I know it's kind of an odd name. People look at it and they kind of don't know what to make of it when they see the name Secret Birds. But Secret Birds is a membership-based organization that promotes entrepreneurship to women and girls. And we focus primarily on emerging markets. So that's Secret Birds, and I can tell you a bit more about it afterwards. But for now, I want to talk about travel. How many people in here love to travel? Okay, good.
You have the right audience, you know.
Okay, perfect. So I want to do a little exercise because it's about 3:45 now, almost.
3:45.
Okay, so you've been here all day, so you're wearing one pair of eyes. Okay? So what I want you to do is take off the pair of eyes that you came in with, take them off, put them aside, and put on a new pair of eyes, a fresh pair of eyes. Okay? So everyone, whatever you have to do, take a deep breath, stretch, anything to just literally remove your old eyes and put on a new pair of eyes. And this is what I think travel is about. Putting on a new pair of eyes and getting a fresh perspective. So how many times have you traveled somewhere and you find yourself going, oh, we do that back home, or oh, we do something like that? That's not a new pair of eyes. That's actually looking through your one prism that you have. And I think when we travel, we should remove this prism and reflect through a new pair of eyes every time. So it's almost when we go back home, we have about 12 different glasses, 12 different eyes, because every time we travel, we pick up a new perspective. Make sense? Okay, so now I want to go around and ask you two things. I want you to tell me two things. Where is the most recent place that you've traveled to? And in terms of perspective, how did it change you? Very quickly. We can start with you.
Oh, okay. I'm Julia, and my trip to India.
First time?
Yes.
Okay.
It was amazing because I'm from Canada, and back home, there was a lot of fear surrounding my coming, being female, and I'm traveling with my 15-year-old daughter. So everybody was afraid because of their own perspective, and I'm very, whatever happens, happens, and I'm willing to live and just embrace whatever shows up. And it's been India is so rich, and it's so
fascinating.
It's so raw, and it's just amazing to be here, and from all the poverty to the other end, and it's all just so beautiful. Feeling my heart just expand in so many ways, and I love the country, and I love every person that I've interacted with, and I can't wait to come back next year.
Wow. I would like to reciprocate the same for Canada, because it's not even 10 days that I was in Canada 10 days ago. So I landed in Vancouver and took a cab to the hotel, and like how typically it is that you get chatting with the driver just to know, get to know the city a little better and your ways around. And that's where I was chatting with the driver on my way to the hotel. And it was so interesting. It just so happened that he happened to be an Indian, and then he happened to ask me as to what brought me to Canada. And then I was like telling him that, we are here for a show and we're trying to set up business and see what the business possibilities are. And that was like, the first impression is the last impression. And I think that's what carried it through in the journey and the stay that I had there. And when we reached the hotel, I thought he's been nice to us. So $35 is what he had told me that it's going to cost. So we added 5 to it, and he said, okay, please, and thank you. And he returned 15 back, saying that you're here to set up your business. You pay me when you're back. And your business is established next time. So it really touched my heart. I literally had good ripples, and I was like, wow, what a big heart. In my own country, would my own people deal with me, help me, and to set out, like when I'm starting out my business, maybe not, I'm not too sure on that. But when I'm traveling all the way, like more than 25 hours of flight, and I find somebody and he's from my country, and because I'm from his country and he's in a foreign land and he understands the challenges, but because he's been received so well in the society there, and he says, go for it, do it. And that was so welcoming. And I think it's not just in him, whoever I met through in my trip there, I just thought that they have such big heart, and I think that completely changed my perspective towards the country and the countryman. Okay. So I really love Canada. And a lot of my friends back in India, when I came back, they're like, oh, are you really you're moving there because you're so off Canada?
So you love Canada? You love India?
Yeah, that's where I said I'm reciprocating.
And can you tell us about, just very briefly, about your most recent trip or any trip?
Okay, obviously this is my latest trip. I'm Maria. I come from Cyprus. Long trip.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. What's the second question?
How did the perspective, how did it change it? Remember eyes, new pair of eyes.
Okay. The thing is that I'm really sorry that I haven't seen India and I don't have time to do it. So I guess I'm coming back. Mm-hmm. The most important thing for me here is that I've met people that really get me. So it's important for me, this interaction with other women all over the world, and because when you're at home, yes, you have your family and your friends, but they don't always really get you, and you need to interact with people with the same ideas and the same mindset, and that's very important for me. So I get empowered and lively, and that's it.
Okay, so the experience.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, my biggest mind shift, the paradigm shift in traveling was, I was deployed to Iran. And I had 10 days in which to get there from the time I was asked to go. So I had no time to get scared. And on the flight back, what am I doing? Where am I going? I was only 25, and it's a very different culture to what I come from. And when I landed and I got to know the people, it was nothing like what the media portrays. And I think a lot of our paradigms are shaped by what the media portrays countries or people to be like. But when you get there, you realize there's so much more that unites us as a people than there is that divides us. And that inherently we all just people. We want the same thing. Yeah.
Okay, thank you for sharing. So who's next? Who wants to go? Are you going to go next? No?
Oh, fine.
Shall we? Okay. No?
It's
Yeah.
too much of that.
Okay.
You can speak, or do you want the mic?
That's okay, I guess.
It's audible.
My most recent trip was to Turkey, and again, we were expecting this weird dichotomy that it's going to be very, very touristy on one end, and on the other end, ultra-conservative. Strangely, it was neither, and the people there were so incredibly nice, and they actually teach you so much about how, in India we think guests are God, Atithi Devo Bhava, but in Turkey, I learned that guests are, they treat their guests like family, which I think on the highway, I met this bus driver who offered me the dry fruits he was eating. In Istanbul, I asked a man for directions. He was a cafe owner. He offered me a cup of tea. And it was so, we weren't expecting that kind of warmth, and we saw so many women being so liberated.
Well, why were you expecting that? So you had a preconceived idea?
A little bit, yes. That's what I'm trying to say, that no matter how much you research a country or you think you know about it, you read the literature, it's only when you're really there, breathing in the air, smelling the smell, seeing the sights, that's when it becomes real. And suddenly, like they say, travel changes you in ways you never expect or never know. Right. But you're never the same person. You come back home and you've changed. Your worldview has changed and you have changed.
You've left with a new pair of eyes.
Yes.
Okay. Who's going to go next?
Well, this is not about my last trip, but my first trip to the US.
Okay.
You know how people who come to the US always say, oh, India, there's so many people. And you say, yeah, okay, there are people. So then you think, okay, there are no people in the US, and so you go there, and there really are no people in the US in some places, you know.
Right.
So while you're expecting it, it's a realization that it's you, and then there are things that are different, which you learn from people. Your people are warm, their people are warm, but there's a difference. And about the discipline that is maintained, the respect that it's a different sort of respect that they have for people than we have for people. Our way of showing it is different, their way of showing it is different. So all that, and then I come back and I say, yeah, India has a lot of people. So yeah, so that was a different pair of eyes, and they are different. That doesn't mean they're wrong.
It's not good or bad, it's just different.
Yeah. So that's what you realize.
Do you think sometimes when people travel, they always, like I was saying, they look through this one prism, but they want a reference point.
Yes.
So this is good, this is bad, because they're comparing it to where they come from.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's not always good, is it?
But they end up doing that.
But we do it anyway.
We do it in the country also, right?
We need a reference point. You never do that. Does anyone have a bad travel experience that they want to share?
So bad learning, I would say.
Something that happened that really, it wasn't positive, but it changed you.
It was positive.
Yeah? Okay.
There was a non-West trip, and I was put up in a bread and breakfast Airbnb. Yeah? So the female was working so hard, and I discovered that she was pregnant as well. And I was like, she was helping me with my luggage. I said, no, I'll do it myself. So the next day, I was like, you Indians, you're not used to working. You have a lot of help out there. And that is when I realized there were only two of them, herself and a help, who were trying to manage a B&B with 8 tables and 8 rooms. That was, it was an eye-opener for me, and I had a new respect for my help. I did.
Because it's probably very expensive to hire staff in Switzerland.
Yes, and they prefer to do it by themselves as long as they can do it. Yes, independent. So you never think about hiring a hair.
Yeah.
And you people, you just can't do without it. It was an eye-opener, yes.
Okay.
And it was very embarrassing.
For you, for her?
For me to know that, yeah, I am really so much dependent on the hair that it doesn't hit me, it doesn't click me to just do it myself.
Yeah.
Because I am,
Cultural difference.
Cultural difference. You're brought up in that way. So it just doesn't click us. It's not nothing about whether it's not my job or something like that, but it just doesn't click.
Anyone at the back table wants to share? Other than the lady who shared before?
Bad experiences.
Sorry?
Sharing.
No, just I was just looking for to hear a bad experience. But if it's good, you can share it as well.
Oh, yeah.
Doesn't matter. Yeah. Do you need a mic? Were you here for the wear a new pair of eyes exercise?
Yes,
Okay.
sort of.
Okay. Okay.
I got jet lag, so I'm trying to be here present.
Okay. Thank you.
A good experience. Well, this has been
just
a
an
good
experience, and
This
that's
is-
how it should change your perspective.
Yeah, yes, I'll speak on this one as opposed to the other one. This has been a good experience, and talking, I guess the other thing is that because we're just located here in the hotel and I haven't been out much, all that you see on the television, especially in the U.S., is how crowded everything is. There's just like this, and it's crowded, and you've got wires hanging. Well, I mean, but the people are fantastic. I mean, I haven't met anybody here. Everybody that has greeted me has been so pleasant. You know, I don't know what you think when you go to New York, but anybody's here from New York.
I love but New Yorkers are a bit edgy.
And then, you know,
you got to have edge to survive
so
there.
I always think that people should come into maybe go to South Carolina, to Hilton Head or something like that, or Florida where people speak. You know, then you get a different impression. But this has been a really good experience. I mean, I have enjoyed it, especially with so many women. You know, everybody has been just like so pleasant, and you can tell that they're here for the same thing. You know, they're not wandering off somewhere. So I think this has been a good experience.
Okay, fantastic. So we'll move on then. Yeah. So I expect you to speak in the next part. Okay, great. So if we can carry on then, the next one. You should be able to. Okay, so I'm going to say social entrepreneur because that's what I am. I don't know if there are any social entrepreneurs in the room, but as a social entrepreneur, I often ask myself, what is my travel story? So that's why I had you go through and say your story. And my travel stories are multiple. So before I get on the flight, like I said, I put on a new pair of eyes and I start thinking about all these multiple travel stories that I have in my mind, and I try not to use them as a reference point for the new country, because I think that it will jade my experience, and I'm curious, and I want to have a different perspective, because I think as an entrepreneur, travel is excellent. I think every entrepreneur should travel as much as they possibly can, and I'll explain why. Okay, so next. Okay, so here's some more. We did this. Where was the most memorable place that you visited, and why did it stand out in your mind? So I'm going to answer this question. I think for now it would probably be India is definitely memorable, but everyone said India, so I'm going to pick someplace else. Probably Turkey. I really enjoyed being in Turkey, and it stood out in my mind because everyone was asking me to take photos. Does this ever happen to you guys when you travel? Depending on where you go? Yes. I was like a celebrity in Turkey. No lie. Every step I took, can I have a photo? Can I have a photo? I want a photo. I want a photo. And a friend of mine in London said, everyone's going to ask you to take a photo. And I said, why? And you'll see. So I went to Turkey and everybody was asking me for husbands and wives and children. And I just thought, this is the most bizarre thing. The only other place I experienced that was in Eastern Europe, in the Balkans, because they don't see a lot of black people there. So I was like, fine. But I didn't think I would get that in Turkey, and I didn't quite understand. But I remember a memorable experience. I was with my cousin, and the man and his wife approached us and said, can I have a photo of you? And my cousin dipped in and said, "Can I have a photo of your wife?" And the man went, you know, he was kind of taken aback. So then, you understand, right? And my cousin said it so quickly. I thought, oh my God, please don't start any kind of confusion. This is a foreign country. We don't want any problems. And the man just got really quiet. So my cousin said again, if I can have a photo of your wife, then you can have a photo of my cousin. And the man said, no. No photos of my wife. So then my cousin said, no photos of my cousin. So it kind of went back and forth. And that really changed me because it made me realize that he was very happy to just randomly approach and ask for a photo of me. But when it came to his wife, it was completely hands-off. So then he got really quiet and then he walked away. So he didn't get the photo. But I thought that was really interesting because I think sometimes it's not just the traveler that's having the experience, it's also the local people. And sometimes local people are very curious. It's not a bad thing, but some people get offended. But when I was in Turkey, that's what I remember the most. Everywhere I went, can I have a photo? I want a photo. Let's take a selfie. And I saw loads of different people there, so I didn't quite, but apparently it happens a lot. So that's yes.
I just wanted to add, the same thing happened to me. And the funniest thing is they're now my friends on Facebook, Instagram,
oh, yeah, of course. Yeah, because they send you the photo and they want to show. It's like, look, have you any friends? And they want to I don't think it was done in a bad way. But I think when my cousin stepped in and did that, I think he did it on purpose to show me a point. He's a lot older than me. He's quite university lecturer, quite in his head, So I think he wanted to show me the point that sometimes you have to show them what they're doing to you so they can see the other perspective. Yes.
You were just reminding me, and when I was in China,
yes,
they went to this certain part, and we got off the bus, and a whole group just stood there. And I said, so I'm thinking maybe there's somebody, that's high profile or something that's getting off. And then the group just came towards me and started touching. And I thought, okay, I've been a lot of places, but I haven't had people walk up and touch me. And then they just follow me, around the thing, and I was like, oh.
How does that make you feel? Do you feel odd? Does it make you feel
no,
like,
what
it's like to be a celebrity? Having people
no, because I don't like attention.
Yes.
But the thing is, what you said about adjusting your eyes, I adjust my mind weeks before I go anywhere because I don't like to take things from other places. I don't even like to bring the mindset from the U.S. to some other place because that way you can't really get the real good experience, and then you're kind of like falling back on what you know, what you heard, and that kind of thing. But yeah, the China one was really interesting. Yeah, I've never had anybody walk up and just feel me.
Yeah, I grew up in the Caribbean, and in the culture I grew up in, we're taught that to stare is disrespectful. So if you want to look at someone, but don't actually just like that. So walking through Turkey, I had to get used to people just, because that's just, it's different culture. Maybe people don't realize. No one was rude, no one was disrespectful. Just a lot of stares and just random, And then the thing is, when you say to one person yes, it's like everybody wanted to ask. So as soon as they see the one person come, then like 20 of them come running, and before you know it, you're surrounded by people. And for me, it was very embarrassing because you're just there like, okay, I want to go now, but they keep coming and coming and coming. So that's my memorable experience, and that stood out in my mind. And it didn't. It wasn't good or bad, but it was different. Definitely different. Okay, next slide. So, why should entrepreneurs travel? Because entrepreneurs should be curious, constantly curious. Our job is to solve problems. Everyone agree that the entrepreneur solves problems? Okay. It heightens our creativity. We use all of our senses when we try different types of food. We smell different types of things. We hear different kinds of accents. We interact with different kinds of people. We learn a few words from the language. Like, I'll tell you something funny since I've been here. I've been saying kuti, kuti.
From last night?
Yeah. When I should be saying kurti, kurti, kurti. So the late, and I didn't know there was a vast difference in this word. Yeah. So
does it mean?
It means shirt.
Kurti is like a blouse.
Okay.
Sorry? Kurti with the R. Right. But I wasn't saying with the R, I was saying
You're
kuti.
saying without the R.
Kuti, which is female dog. So I didn't know what I was saying. And now I understand, because the lady in guest relations, I kept saying, I bought this beautiful kuti, and she kept going, I will never say that. I could tell she was embarrassed. I think she was too embarrassed to tell me I was saying the wrong thing. So last night in the room, you guys corrected me, and I was like, oh God, this is so embarrassing. But this is all a part of the travel experience, right? So, like we said earlier, everyone said they gained a new perspective when they travel. We learn to adapt. You learn to adapt very quickly when you travel. So when you go back home, you realize the things you used to complain about aren't really that important. You know, you learn how to wing it. For example, if you backpack through Europe and you go to places where the toilets are in the ground, when you get back home, you appreciate an actual toilet seat, which is nice. Yes, exactly. You appreciate shower heads. Traveling in some parts of North Africa, there's no toilet paper, and you have to walk with little napkins. You appreciate being at home where there's actual toilet paper. I mean, that, again, from my experience. Communication, you develop your communication skills. You learn how to speak, how to engage with different people in different ways. So the way you would speak to, say, the man in the cab is very different to how you would speak to, say, someone that you met at an event like this. You see, so you learn a lot of different skills that I think can help you to become a better entrepreneur. Obviously, it's a complete learning experience. Skills, lots and lots and lots and lots of skills. You become more open. Openness is very important. I think you can't identify and solve problems if you're not open. So openness is very important. And awareness. Not awareness of other people, but more of yourself. I think it's always surprising how many people are not self-aware. And that can always be problematic. So is there anything else that anyone would like to add? Or do you think I've kind of summed it up? Yeah?
I find that when I travel, I find interesting things, just the way it processes, or the way, just things in countries that are outside of our own, that I want to take back home and implement, or even opportunities, or franchises, or just stuff that, I wish we thought of that.
Absolutely.
And, the host country might take it for granted, but it's new eyes, new perspective, it's appreciation.
And I'm getting to that. So thank you so much for bringing that. Anybody else want to add anything else? Yes?
I think also traveling makes us a better human being.
Absolutely.
It teaches us that beneath the differences, we are all actually one. We have similar aspirations, desires. We all want peace of mind, contentment.
Yes.
Good things for our family, children. So that's also something we learn. So
the human connection.
Many differences to a large extent.
Has anyone traveled so much to a point that when they get back home and they're with their family and their friends, they almost feel a bit awkward? Yes. That they don't fit anymore?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yes.
And then after a while you just feel lost. Like, okay, I don't fit wherever I go. So then you start hanging around with all the other people who travel a lot. Is that your experience? Yeah?
I travel a lot, once a month for the past 3 years. And I get tired and I say, okay, that's enough, I want to go home. But when I go home, I say, what am I doing here?
I think maybe that's the damaging effect of travel.
Yeah.
Because before I told my parents and my friends I was coming here, it was just like, okay, yeah, Joanne's doing her thing again. There she goes, she's off doing her thing again. So everybody just knows that I go away a lot, but they don't quite get it. So like my father always says, why do you go to these places? Like, why do you want to go? What do you think is so different? They eat like us, they live like us, they have everything. Like, what is the big deal? But it's India, and he's West Indian, so he loves cricket. So he said, make sure they get me something cricket, like take some photos or something like that. But generally, with my friends who are at home, who haven't traveled often, the conversation sometimes there's no. We can have light and fluffy conversations, but nothing with too much depth, because our experiences are so different. So I don't know if you've experienced that.
Exactly.
Okay, so next. All right. So as entrepreneurs, we should travel because, like everyone has said, problems are very similar in the world. So whether it's in London or in Bangkok, there's a human experience that binds us together. So the more you travel, the more you realize, okay, they've got the same problem that we have, How are they working to solve the problem? How are the Brits solving their renewable energy problem? How are the people in Bangkok, in Thailand, how do the Thai approach their problem? And then how can I bring that, what can I gain from that or glean from that and apply here in my own country, right? So you learn to appreciate other approaches. Like we were saying, oh, not yet, sorry. You can go back, it's okay. So we learn to appreciate other approaches and other perspectives. And like I said earlier, not necessarily seeing things as right or wrong, but just different. So again, we all know the stereotypes. The Germans are efficient. So when we go to Germany, we expect everything to be on time. We know the train is going to come on time. We know everything is going to be clean because this is German efficiency, right? They're known for their industry, automotive. You want to say something?
Yeah, so we were going through Germany to the US.
Yes.
And actually when our baggage was going through the security again, the electricity went off.
So this broke the stereotype of German efficiency, right? Okay, so, and that may differ from whatever we think the Chinese approach is. But it's not good or bad, it's just you have to assess the differences, and I think that middle part in between is where we can learn something from, okay? And then, this is the most important part. How can we apply it at home? I'll give you a perfect example of something I experienced since I've been here. You know the guys that are selling the, well not selling, they're giving them away the smoothies?
Yeah.
I was very intrigued by them, so I was having a chat, and I said, where did this idea came from? And he said, oh, very simple. We were traveling throughout the US, and we saw all of these little milkshake and smoothie spot things, places, and we said, we need this in India. And that was it. And I said, oh, so it was because you traveled. And he said, yeah, you know, I just thought, I said, but when did you realize? He said, it literally just hit me. This is cool, and we need it in India. And now they've got like 40 chains or something, and they're growing, and it's a hit, apparently. So that's a perfect example of how you can go away, and you can see something very simple, and you can apply it in your own country. Now, he didn't necessarily solve a problem, but he added value, because I've seen everybody walking around with these little, and like right now it's very hot, so that's an example. But when we return home, I think as entrepreneurs, we then need to innovate from based on what we've learned and try to solve problems in our own country that way. I'm not saying we should replicate what we see, but we kind of have to give it our own twist. Yeah? Anybody has any views? You still think you want to say something?
Yes, I was just thinking when we arrived here, our first experience with the toilets, the little nozzle, my 15-year-old is like going,
what do I do with that?
And I'm very open going, oh, well, let's check it out. And I'm going, oh my gosh, we're redoing our bathroom back home this summer, and I'm going, oh, I'm putting one of these in. And night before last, I guess she tried it, and she went, oh my gosh, Mom, this is amazing. We need one in our bathroom too.
Yeah.
So it's just something so little. We were kind of, the research we had done coming here, we had just seen squat toilets, and so we had prepared for just squat toilets. And so we were excited just to see toilets, and then to have this, I don't know, cherry on top, so to speak, was just like,
do you think
amazing.
something like that would work in Canada? The little thing, the little shower head next to the...
I think so, that if...
it's like a bidet in a shower head.
Yes, but like this was our first exposure to it, and I'm open, and she's a little more, I don't know, this isn't what I'm accustomed to. Yeah. But once she tried it and got over the story she's telling herself, because we tell ourselves stories about stuff, and then she's like, let's do this, let's get one of these.
Okay. Anybody else has anything else that they've seen here in India that they think would work in their country? I feel like India's got so many things that would work in. It's so big.
I think that these shakes will work in Cyprus.
Those are the guys that I just spoke
Yeah,
about.
because it's hot in Cyprus as well. Not India hot, but it's hot. Yeah. So I guess that's a very good idea.
Yeah. Okay. So we have to apply what we learn at home. All right? And you can move on because I just went through each one. So back to where we started. We all have two eyes. And it's important that when we travel, we leave the eyes that we started with at home. That's very difficult, but we have to do it. So we all have two eyes. And then when we get to our destination, the next one, travel forces us to wear new eyes. Okay, so it's all about gaining a new perspective with these eyes. So this is what I really want you to. Walk away with from this presentation. That if you're an entrepreneur, whilst you travel, it's very, very, very important to wear a new pair of eyes. And that's it. That's my presentation. No? How many for time?
We're ready?
We're early.
Yeah.
Yes. Because I only prepared 15 minutes. I thought it was supposed to be me and someone else.
Yeah.
But
I think we have a question now.
Oh, sure.
How many places have you been?
I haven't counted. I guess most people count. But I've been to quite a few. I've been through a few passports.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I'm on my third passport in 5 years.
So is this what you do full time? Do you
Travel? I wish. I wish I could travel and get paid. No, I just I just find ways. Like living in London when I used to work, we would get my company gave us about 35 days. And that excluded bank holidays, which are in the equivalent in the US of public holidays, and holidays like Christmas and Easter and whatnot. So I just used to plan. So I would do like three trips a year.
Right.
Yeah. So, but I've been to more than 50-something countries. I've been to quite a few places, but that's a little bit compared to a lot of people I know.
Oh yeah. My friends, they don't do the same thing I do, but they travel every year and they hit a lot of places where they're going.
Yeah.
But so we have different reasons. Well, we used to travel together, but now since I do this, they go more vacation.
Yeah, and most of the ideas that I have in the back of my mind for businesses, they've all come from traveling someplace. Yeah, so that's why I thought this would be a different topic.
Do you find that, because I think places, for lack of a better word, get a bad rap, especially in the U.S.
Yes.
It's a great place. But do you find that when you go to another place, it really helps because you've had the experience that that's not exactly as it's portrayed to be?
Of course, that's the whole idea of being a new perspective. But I think when I first started, when I was 16 years old, I lived on a Native American reservation in the U.S. for like a month and a half, and that I don't know if you know Native Americans how they live like on the land.
I've heard, but I've never.
Yeah, and that kind of changed my whole life, that whole experience.
Okay.
And I think from there, that's when I got this book for traveling. But I do think that I think it boils down to the media. I think if you, especially CNN, dangerous. I think if you watch too much CNN, I think if you watch too much certain aspects of Western media, it definitely jades your view of certain parts of the world, because it's this one image, it's this one message that's been, just channeled through into your head every single day. So it may stop you from wanting to visit a place, but then when you actually go to that place, you realize, okay, yeah, they've got problems, but they've got, like, for example, I have a friend in Britain. If I say I'm going to the US, she says to me, "Oh, make sure you wear your bulletproof vest." Because bulletproof vests. Because America's portrayed. America's a country that's portrayed as having a lot of gun violence. So she literally thinks that people are walking around the street.
No, that's
obviously not. But when you watch the media, there's guns everywhere. There's guns in the films. There's guns on TV. There's guns everywhere. So I think it's more the media. But you have to be discerning. You have to be able to think, okay, that's TV. This is reality. And I think travel helps with that.
Yeah, it definitely helps me. I mean, because just like coming here, I have 3 brothers, and text messages from one. Be careful, I got to be texting them constantly, telling them. But they should be used to it by now.
Yes.
And I travel alone. Do you travel alone?
I only did it once.
I travel every place.
And I was really bored. And I didn't like having to ask people to take photos of me. So I'm never going to do that again. I think a big part of travel for me is memories. So if I have someone with me, I create a memory with someone. I spent a long weekend in Madrid by myself and I was so bored.
Wow.
And I had to go like this, take all the pictures. And every minute I had to go to someone and say, "Can you take a picture of this? Can you take a picture of me?" And I didn't enjoy it. So, but for some people, they love traveling by themselves. But for me, I prefer to have a friend or a group, or it's a part of building the memory and the experience with other people as well.
Yeah. Well, I tell you, this is one thing. I'll tell you why I like traveling by myself. And
Yes.
I purposely do it.
Okay.
Because I think that if I don't know the person well enough and you're not educated to have an open mind and understanding, and I don't know how your mouth functions,
right?
Then you don't travel. So that's why I travel by myself, to avoid having to put myself in that position.
Right.
Because now I'm in the position where there are quite a few people that want to go to Dubai with me, and I said, look, we must have a session.
You screen.
Yeah.
That's equal with family members.
Okay.
I agree with you. I have a travel group.
Yes.
There are just handful of people that I can travel with.
Yes.
And because we like the same things, you know that we went to visit museums, we want to taste the local cuisine, we want to do this and that, but just a handful of people.
Yeah.
I don't want to be traveling with anyone else. They're my friends, I love them, and we go out together, but no traveling together.
Because it wouldn't work.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I understand that. So, do you believe, by show of hands, that as, like, everybody in here is an entrepreneur, or entrepreneurial, or has something going on, that by traveling it helps you to become a better entrepreneur? And have you thought of it in this way before? Has this kind of changed your perspective on that, or what do you think? Yes.
Yeah, so when I went to the US, I went through this MoMA, you know.
Okay. Yeah.
I love going into these stores, the
Yes.
college stores and these retail places of the museums, because
Yes.
they have such interesting merchandise. And when I see that, because I'm in the retail space, and when I see that, I'm like, oh, this is something interesting.
Yes.
You know, why don't we do this?
Yes.
And the finish, it gives me such joy to see these things, you know, that I all want to buy all of it. I don't.
Right.
But I feel like buying all of it, and that totally, you know, it makes me think of why we couldn't have thought of this. What is it about them that they thought of it? How did they come to this idea? Those are the kind of things that I find very interesting.
Some of the things that, like, I have all these little ideas in my head that I've been flirting with is, like, I think maybe in order to create a thriving entrepreneurial culture and ecosystem, you have to encourage people to travel. I think that's very important. And it's less about knowing how to write a business plan and knowing how to deliver a strategy, and much more about understanding ideas, how ideas work, how to get ideas, how to pick up ideas, whether that's from traveling, going into the bookstore, talking with your friends, trying to investigate things. And I think that helps to build an entrepreneur, like a thriving entrepreneurial ecosystem. I don't know if you agree. Is this lady has something with something? Yeah.
I'm a writer.
Yes.
So for me, traveling is not just a passion, but it really fuels the creative fire in the belly.
Because you see things, developing narratives. And
so it's influenced my writing very much. And in fact, off late, there's been a very tangible result that's come out of traveling. One of my favorite places in India, actually anywhere in the world, is the Himalayas.
Okay.
And several years ago, I went there, and there was the seed of an idea that took birth in me. And today, that idea has turned into a full-fledged novel. So that was inspired by my travels in the Himalayas.
Okay.
So I have a story to share that ties in very well with what Joanne has just presented today. They were a group, and it's just a true story. They were a group of, I think, 3 students that had graduated in the US. And as I guess some young people do, they had time off, so they went out to Hawaii, the islands, specifically the island of Kauai, to what they call watch the surf. And they were there for a while, and they decided, well, this island is so tropical and this fruit is so good, that they started juicing, like making what we know as smoothies today. They started just selling those on the side of the road in Kauai, in the island. And before long, I don't know the timelines, but before long, the story goes that they were then they were offering this service to hotels, or this product to hotels and to resorts on the island. One of the 3 of them got married to a South African woman, so they came to Cape Town for the wedding and found in South Africa that there was nothing healthy, nothing that embodied or resembled the kind of food and the drinks, etc., that they were accustomed to being on the island for that long. And literally, they decided there and then to start what is known as Kauai in South Africa. It was then the pioneer, and this is probably 15 years ago, the pioneers of what we know as smoothies and wraps and salads. And it's a brand that I have loved all my life. And I always dreamed that I'll have a franchise one day. So in my own time, when I relocated to Dubai, I stayed there for 2 years. For the entire duration of my time there, I kept on thinking that this is one product or service or concept that should come to the UAE because of the heat and with the lifestyle that is there. You know, I thought that would be a great fit. So I didn't think about it at the time, but when I finished my 2 years in Dubai and I went to San Francisco, I did an MBA there. And in my one elective, which was strategy-based, I wrote a strategy for Kuwait to enter the UAE. And I looked at the numbers, and I thought, this is something we should do. And long story really short, it is now operational in the UAE, we did it. But it was exactly that. It was their ability to be able to have traveled, to experience the local cuisine, the local flavors, local customs, just the local lifestyle, and then to export that to a country where, again, they see a fit. And then similarly, in my case, where I did the same, knowing what works at home and bringing that to a country where I see synergy.
Yeah.
So travel.
Definitely. So I think we should all, I encourage you to include travel in your business strategy. So when you're doing your 6 month or 1 year plans and you're thinking and you're reviewing, or if you feel like you're stuck, you need some inspiration, I think buy an airline ticket and go someplace. And, no, I'm serious. I think it may actually really, really, really help to add something. Of course, yes. You haven't spoken. I saw you. You came. No, of course, yes.
Okay,
Do you want the mic?
Yeah, no.
No? Okay.
My name is Puneet. I'm an apparel exporter.
Okay.
And I happened to go to Australia all of a sudden and then decided that, this is the country I want to work with. So in a way to work with Australia, I took off from work and I extensively traveled around the two big states, which is Victoria and NSW. I drove around for 5,000 kilometers in the countryside, meeting people, getting the local hang of local language, local accent, getting people to get the good mind,
Yeah.
and hair gone right.
Yes.
So and then my next trip was when I was there with my merchandise. Okay. So when I did my local work, when I traveled from one place to the other and banging your car into the kangaroo as well. So you get to think of everything about the country, and then I think it helped me in a way because I already knew what they want.
Of course.
So I had my
yeah.
And when I was communicating with people there, so there was a guy, and he comes like there are a set of business. Jeff comes here and says, "You've done your homework well." I said, "All right." Yeah. So. This is what I did with Australia and with Japan again when I was, though I can't speak Japanese, but I had to learn little bit things about Japan.
Yeah.
What I learned about Japan is this: you can't use the word no. No, it's not possible.
No, it's not possible.
Which I use with my European clients. No, it's not possible.
Right.
So I can't use that no filter. So when I know that I'm going to see a Japanese today, I have to prepare myself. Don't say a no. Sorry?
You have to just negotiate back and forth, but there's no...
I have to say, Koizumi-san, it's too difficult. We can try. I can just talk to my pattern maker. We can try to fix it. We'll put it on the machine. We'll see how we go, and we'll send you a video. And when they see the video and see it's not happening, okay, so we'll change it that way.
They have to come to for themselves.
Yeah. Sometimes I'm like they prove me wrong because they say, if you do it this way, it can happen.
Yeah.
So they're quite very technical, and a lot of things I've learned while traveling in Japan and in Australia.
Absolutely.
There's two different countries though, but then both have got their own, I think, positive points.
Yeah. And do you apply anything to India from those countries?
Yes, one thing I learned that the public toilets in Japan are cleaner than our house toilets.
Wow.
So I made it a point that all my office toilets are very clean, spick and span, that way. So we put those like that. But what I happened to see in Japan is that in one of the busiest train stations there was a toilet that please keep it clean because somebody else has to use it after you. So I translated that into Hindi, and I had to put that in my office, on all the toilets on the shop floor level.
And how have your employees received this? Are they receptive to it? Are they keeping it clean? Do they think it's good? It's bad? Do they think you're odd for putting it clean?
See, the thing is, we are a country of 1.2 billion people. You can only try to impart this. You can't impose that on them. I'm sure half of them will be saying he's stupid. 15 days he spent there, he's loaned money, and this is what you're trying to teach us. So I don't know, but then certain things I take back from there.
Yeah.
Every time I travel to different countries.
You try
to implement that in your daily when you bring it here, but then that's all.
Do you wear a new pair of eyes?
Sorry?
Do you try to put on a new pair of eyes?
Yeah. Yes.
Or do you find yourself going back to old thoughts and old ways of
No, I try to listen of it depends. Like I try to go with a new pair of eyes because then that is because my business is such I have to make new things every now and then.
Right.
So you have to have a new pair of eyes anyway.
Yeah.
So what's happening there? What's the mood? What people want?
Exactly. It keeps you on sharp, on your toes.
Yes.
I would like to share one more thing. I know we're running short of time.
Yes.
My 15-year-old and I, we've traveled in the States a lot because that's right there. It's so much like Canada. There is a lot of similarities.
Yes.
And coming here and seeing the difference, like we had talked about the level of poverty and people living in thatched huts and things. And at first, she was like, oh my gosh, I want to come, I want to make changes, I want to make a difference. And it's funny, I just listened, and all that's so kind, whatever. And just, I let her kind of percolate in those thoughts, and we were discussing over dinner last night. She goes, you know, I was thinking I really want to come and bring all these changes to make their lives better, but they're heavy. I didn't stop and think about that. I was only looking at how I would feel in this situation. They don't have the same feelings as I might. And I thought,
because they define happiness differently.
Right, and I thought how amazing at such a young age that she is connected. Instead of me imposing my desires onto you, it would be better for me to hear what it is you need and want, instead of me trying to make you like me. Oh, man.
But she also realized on her own that happiness is defined differently by different people.
Yes, but I thought that was a different twist with the new eyes, because she came in and had this view, and then as she sat with it, it was like, it's okay the way it is. Doesn't need my fingerprints on it at all.
Yeah, fantastic. The last point I want to make is also the next generation. So one thing I admire about Brits living in Britain, Brits take a gap year and before they go to university. I know Americans do like exchange programs, and they go overseas for like a summer or something like that before they go to university. But Brits, it's very popular for Brits to take a gap year or take 2 and 3 years to just travel the world, and their parents are super cool with that. I mean, I don't know if I said to my parents, yeah, we'll travel for 3 years, they'd be like, no, you're not doing that. But I admire that they just travel. Like they're 16, 17 years old, and they literally just pack their bags and they go. And they have no fare. They have these little backpacks, and they go and they come back and they're like, yeah, I traveled to Brazil in 1 year. And you sit there thinking, were you nervous? Were you scared? No, we just did. And I think, and they do that before they go into university. Now, I know culturally that may not be accepted everywhere. Like I said, I know if I was 17, I was expected to go to university. If I said to my parents, I'm going to travel for a year, first thing is, who's going to fund that? Not us. And secondly, they don't see it as an enlightening and an enriching experience the way I do. They would see it as, you're just having fun. You need to go to university to get a skill, to get a job, you know? So I think it's important to consider the next generation.
That happens in India.
Yeah.
Very much in India.
Yeah, okay, so it's a similar, yes. So I think it's important to cultivate, I'm not saying let your kids go off and travel the world and get lost and all this stuff, but I think it's still important to cultivate this culture of travel and experience. Maybe you can travel with your kids. If you don't want them to go off on their own, you can do it in your own Indian way. But I think it's important to encourage the younger generation to see the world as much as they can, because I think it will also, it's sustainable for your country as well. And that's it. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you, Joanne. It was incredible. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I'm glad you enjoyed it as much as I did. Could we have a group picture, please?
With all the travelers.
Have you seen that before, Prezi?
Yes.
Okay, I've got your business card. Okay, so we'll take a picture now.
Please join us. Come, some members. Yes.
Next time you are
पहले मुझे ले Yes, please.
We're travelers, we smile. Thank you. I mean, take lots of selfies. Thank you. Thank you. So I remember to
if we want pictures like from our room, how do we do it? This one. The group pictures can be like this one. 15 minutes right and then post कर सकते हैं मतलब
ऑनर
yeah, I try to engage with people because people get bored. So sis, what are you talking Green, is it you? I saw that. People want to talk. People want to share. So I was definitely thank you so much for the opportunity. That's to support yourself. But I don't really talk about it. Because I'm continuing. I don't mind my lecture. Sounds good. But I went. I know. Thank you so much. Yes, we haven't met. Okay, and I said fine. I wanted to be in the hi! And then come to the toilet. Okay, they must know. But it can't be that. So and then I Googled. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Bye-bye.
Okay. Thank you so much. And for being in
This is her first.
I have not gone.
Her attitude. So, I mean, I have to be. She just doesn't like it.
I just have to go by.
Whatever.
There's somebody else.
She's very humble. And that's just, I used to have my other my guinea pig actually kids pretty much lived on the road.
No trouble. That's because you read books in extra grade. But so you get there's a chance that you get everything all that.
Yes.
Hi, how are you?
And in the books, it's not.
Yeah.
She's like, best way to get her one hanging out in the. And then she might have this. I think it's just because in America people live well. Projecting. I think it's just projection of like how she's like, oh my gosh, the Wi-Fi. Not so much here, but like you can't find a hotspot. And then here she's just been like, no, my place is all good. Doesn't have cell phones. I need to go there for a while. And I thought, how old is she? She's all right. Just turned 15. But she's been planning since she was like 9 or 10. Mom, when I'm out of high school, I would have backpacked. And I'm like, that's fantastic. Get your plan now. And so she's focused on this. So she's old enough to get her certification for teaching English. It all has all rules in the toolbox so that she can have a way to make money as she should, whether it's being just go into a pub and being
doing things online. The way on that online world is now you do so many things.
And this has been helpful because like we've made connections with so many people. I was just talking to the ambassador from Iceland and took my card and he goes, be in touch. Be in touch because we're interested in what you do. Bring them into the schools. It's like, she and I do mother-daughter workshops on bridging that relationship.
Can I help you? Yes, I was on the wrong page.
That's what she's wanting to do. We're very small, just we can't get into the schools. Are you working on that?
One of the volunteers, yes.
Oh yeah.
You just need that one.
And
that one introduction.
Exactly.
And then from that it'll just
exactly.
Do you need help with your presentation?
And I just figure it's just like timing.
I'm fine.
Here to have
Thank you.
internal shifts so that I would be ready for it. Yeah. But she does stuff with youth, particularly girls. She wants to branch out boys on the importance of confidence and believing in yourself instead of being swayed by the media and changed views of approval and acceptance. So, I really appreciated your presentation. It was very great.
Thank you. I'm glad you guys liked it. Good.
All right, so I'm off.
Yes.
I don't know where I'm going to now. Is this a full
You're welcome to stay here. Sorry? You're welcome
So I have a plan to what to work the international so this was movement from the festivities and with South Africa I was select partner.
When did you join? I mean, in November?
Yes.
Wow. Exactly. So how did you get to this?
So I feel like we could You know, the other thing that we're getting close to resolving.
Okay, well, you know how much you're
No, that's
yeah. Okay.
Is someone living in your parents' house? This is my friend. No. So saying that they're
you need to look at yourself and understand there is things like she would I'm okay. The thing is saying that. And also you need but because it's in the cupboard you won't feel it getting hot. Well, the people with me and your friend that you don't feel it getting hot.
The politicians are
Yes,
they don't care. And then for me, they don't want to solve the problem because they their job.
There's probably some money, there's probably somebody benefiting financially from this situation.
Shall we start?
Oh, here you are.
Yes, I'm here.
I think we have a few minutes before we start. It's 5 minutes.
Okay.
You can picture. If you don't get a picture.
Yeah, sure.
Sure. We had the same situation, business professional. Yeah? Yeah.
So you've lived in a lot of countries as well.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yes, I have.
You said deployed. Are you in the military?
No. Well, I use the word loosely.
No, okay. When I say deployed, I think military.
Expatriated is the better word, yeah.
I'm not familiar with the name behind
You want to do the
number.
okay.
With the award. Sure.
My roommate is doing her thing now.
Thank you.
I told her I'd go see her.
Okay.
Yes,
Maria.
Oh, Maria Arriba.
Okay. Shoes. Oh, beautiful. Oh, gorgeous. Right?
But you want the women nationality for?
Yeah, it's okay.
It is the email online shopping. Where did you buy it? From Turkey.
Shall we do the?
Where are you from? I'm Turkey. I'm Turkish. Oh,
We did that one.
Don't you hear from previous session?
Did we do that one?
Because
We did that one.
Okay.
Oh, really? Oh.
But there's 4 of us, so I'll just
No,
stand.
so you want to stand behind?
Okay, you want to stand until we Okay.
Or we fit another chair in?
10 मिनट पहले 5 6
No, we fit.
ठीक है हाँ 2 2 3 4 ठीक है
Back to the award.
You should show the award.
Yes, yes.
And we get the
I'll get that. But you know the light here is not so big.
Shall we? Okay, we go. Is the light?
I'll try one. Okay.
Cheers.
नहीं उनको बैकग्राउंड भी चाहिए Cheers. This is okay.
Thank you very much. Will you take the professional one first, please?
Yeah, professional.
No, I know you'll send that to us.
Will do.
Please.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, good.
Great.
So you'll Facebook it?
Well,
Thank you very much.
I think we can start. Can I get your card?
Okay. I do like your shirt.
Yes.
I do like your shirt. It's very good.
The shirt?
Yeah,
Thank
it's
you.
great design.
It's an Indian designer.
Yeah, very nice.
What's it?
No, they just, I mean, okay, so that much. You want to stop or should I round up? Just, okay, you can deeper.
Yeah.
introduce your name to our team.
Deepa. Deepa.
Yes. Hi everyone.
You are ladies in Bangalore.
Audiences.
So you're the state committee chairperson for official old ladies there.
Implement of.
I give you the right one. No, I'm sorry. Oh, sorry.
You gave me something else.
But it's the meaning of it's Secret Foundation. Wow.
All right, I just want to see if we can get more people coming.
Yes.
All right. Okay, this is me.
Oh,
So yeah,
just in 2 minutes.
State committee
Voluntary Foundation for to promote spiritual well-being in underprivileged.
spiritual well-being in underprivileged.
Well-being, yes.
In underprivileged.
Yes. Just to give them like a buffer kind of a thing to deal with life and
live meditation.
yes, secular. No, it's not religion based.
No,
but just
because,
deep breathing, meditation.
Never be successful.
Is Kanika an area or is that a
Karnataka is a state.
state?
So yes.
State of.
It's so we are now in the north, like up here, this is India. We are in the north. Karnataka comes somewhere towards the bottom of India.
Oh, okay.
The south.
Very interesting.
So how many provinces does the All Ladies League have in India?
How many chapters?
Yes, yeah, how many charters?
Oh my God, I actually don't know, but many. Because yes, it's spreading. Because just in Karnataka we have one for the city, which is Bangalore, where I live, and we have several in the rural areas. So that's a big thing, like rural women being part of all. So we have like a lot of chapters. Are you both members? Are you from Turkey as well?
No, I'm Australian.
Oh, okay.
Aussie.
I've been to Sydney.
Okay, I'm Perth, on the other side of Australia, Indian Ocean side.
Which would be that. Which side would that be?
West.
Okay.
Indian Ocean side.
Okay.
Below India. Perth.
Below India.
Well, Indian
It's
Ocean
so
side.
yeah.
Equal with Sydney.
Yeah.
Equal with Sydney, but on the other side of Australia.
Opposite of the.
Opposite. Yeah. So the Indian Ocean side. Pacific Ocean is Sydney. Indian Ocean is Perth.
Perth. Oh, you are living in Perth.
Yeah.
One of my neighbors.
It's a long time to get anywhere from Perth.
Daughter-in-law moved to Perth.
Okay. Where? How long ago?
1 hour, 1.5 years ago. Maybe I will give you a name.
No?
Just give us a few minutes.
Oh, it's
To
okay.
get started. We just, yes, we also like really, people tend to come a little late.
Oh, that's okay. I can give a lecture for you.
At least you don't have to share your time. So if you start late, you have enough time.
No, it's okay. I mean, they told me I have 15 minutes anyway, so it's...
You can... Come on.
Do you live in Istanbul?
Huh?
Istanbul?
I'm originally from Ankara, the capital city, but 4 years ago I moved to Istanbul, and I am very happy.
Where did you move to?
From Ankara to Istanbul.
Originally
from
Are you sure you
Ankara, I born in Ankara, I studied in Ankara, married.
I'll make friends in Iran.
Do you want to look at the possibility of merging the group? Or should we just figure out the
No.
Okay, that's fine. Let's put the recorder on.
You'd rather do it here? Do it on your own?
Yeah.
Then let's start.
I think a woman there would
Ah.
not.
Would you like the mic?
Yeah.
I have not seen
I asked Susan about...
Okay. Hello.
Hello. Hello. Dr. Maria.
Well, it feels like I'm giving a speech for BPW now. Okay. My speech is the impact of national culture on the progression of women in the workplace. We all know that women are facing difficulties when in the workplace and when they are trying to make their way up in the organizational ladder. But why does this happen? Any ideas? Why does this happen?
The culture of the country, of what the previous expectations are on women and their role in society.
Exactly. So, I was born in a country, Cyprus, that gender roles are very, very specific from the time you are born. So you see here, there's a female nurse, a male doctor, and a patient. And this is taken from my elementary school book. Another one, there's the architect, I presume, the builder. They're all male figures.
Same as in Turkey.
Yeah, I presume that this is familiar to all of you. But the most disappointing thing is not that they're there. The most disappointing thing is that they're in the children's book. When you're being taught about professions at school, this is what you get. So, we get male doctors, female nurses, and this in academia we call it horizontal segregation, which means that there are professions that are for women and professions that are for men. Do you get that in your countries as well? Yes? So, we grew up in our houses watching our mothers and grandmothers doing all the house chores, taking care of the children, didn't we all? And we spent our years at school being taught that we are limited, that we only can have female jobs, and that we also need to take care of the household. So if you grow up in this way, this is the way that you're going to be, right? So, what is a woman in Cyprus, and I presume in other countries as well, is made for? It's made to follow specific subjects at school and university. That is to say, education or nursing or soft, the word we call soft. Like, they cannot be a doctor. No, they can now, but they're not supposed to be doctors, they're not supposed to be lawyers, they're not supposed to be architects, they're not supposed to be engineers, right? They get hired in female jobs. For example, in Cyprus, when a company wants to advertise for a secretarial job, they say we're looking for a female secretary. And they specifically say that in advertisement, which is somehow illegal, but they do it. So, we are raised to get married, we are raised to become mothers, and yes, we are allowed to have a career as long as we juggle everything together. As long as we are wives, as long as we are mothers, we can have it, but it's on our own. We don't need any help. Does that happen to your countries as well? Yes? So, when we actually do go into the workplace, what do we find? We find a wage gap. What's a wage gap?
Salary gap, disparities in salary.
Yes.
Between men and women.
It's approximately 20% worldwide, approximately, but it varies between countries. We encounter a glass ceiling, which is what? What's a glass ceiling?
Women.
Yeah.
Women are not allowed to rise beyond a certain rank.
Yeah? Well, supposedly you are allowed, but you never do.
Yeah.
Why do you never do? Because you have to juggle between all these roles that you're assigned to, and basically you don't have time or you don't want to, because you've been raised in a way that women are not managers, women are wives, women are mothers, women are nurses, but they're not managers, they're not CEOs. Although we have one in the room, but we're not raised, we're not aspired to do that. We also have a lack of mentorship. And why? Because there are so few women at the top, so we do not have anyone to reach for, to ask for help. And well, now that we have BPW here, it's one of the things that BPW does. It helps you grow and it gives you role models everywhere in the world, even if it's not in your country, but it gives you role models, and that's very, very important. So, what else do women encounter when they go, when they work, when they're in the workplace? Exclusion from networking activities. Why? Why do you think?
Because there's an established club already amongst the men.
Yes, what we call old boys network.
Yeah.
And men don't want women, don't want them included. That's one reason.
Women have children, responsibilities that they have to go to.
Exactly. Women don't have time to devote to networking. And what's another reason?
Some of the activities are male driven. So it might be golfing or
the pub.
I don't want to go there, but okay, just shoot.
But some women don't like going, to the
Yeah.
pub.
Yeah.
Well, even if you like going there, you're not going to be invited. Why? Because it's a men's thing.
Yeah.
We have that in Cyprus that the big four companies, well, KPMG, PwC, and so on, normally they have these boxes, they rent these boxes for football matches,
Yes.
and they don't even invite women in it. But that's where business happens, in football matches. They go there, they take the clients, and they book the deals in football matches.
Sometimes the men might think they might have to be very polite and behave differently if a woman is around, so they don't want to. They want to be boys.
Yeah.
So they kind of indirectly exclude you in a polite way.
Actually, not just indirectly. This is based on my PhD thesis, and actually when I interviewed some men, what I get is that we don't invite them because it's football and women don't like football.
Exactly.
Okay. And another reason why women are excluded is because of the conservative societies. If women are seen with a man outside of their family or their husband or their close friends together outside drinking or eating or having fun, it's inappropriate. So it does not happen so often and not everywhere in the world, but it does happen. So women exclude themselves because they say, okay, if I'm going out with a client, how would other people see me? Does this happen in your countries as well, or is it just me? Does it happen in Turkey?
Of course.
Australia?
Well,
not so much.
These things were there, but the same women in small business applies the same as the workplace issues of breaking into old boys networks. But in Australia, it's the lack of childcare facilities and the cost of them and the places available is very high.
Yeah.
Is a very big problem.
That's the next point. Lack of adequate childcare facilities. Yes, we do have childcare facilities, but they mostly close at 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the afternoon. But when you need to work up until 8 or 9, who is going to take care of the children? Well, it's the wife, it's the woman, because that's the trend. Yes.
Something else I wanted to say about the conservative societies was that sometimes your mentor may happen to be a man, an older man, and he may be reluctant to be seen out with you because they may be gossip about an affair, because a lot of times younger woman, older man, even though that's not the case, he doesn't want to be seen in that way, so he may push you to join like a woman's group. This happened to me. Push you to join a woman's group or make sure there are other people around.
Yeah.
And you may not understand what's happening because he won't be doing that with the men.
because they'll all go out together and have a drink.
Exactly.
But with you, it's not because he doesn't want to help you, but he's really scared about his reputation sometimes.
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
what people will say.
So it goes both ways.
Yeah.
It's not just the woman who's afraid to be seen with a man. A man might be afraid to be seen with a younger woman.
Yes.
Because
office gossip.
Yeah, exactly.
And it will ruin her career. It'll ruin her career.
Yeah.
Essentially. Sorry?
In which country are you?
I grew up in the Caribbean, but I've lived in UK, US, a few places. So yeah. But it's been my experience. I used to work in the construction industry, which is all men. So my experience has been like that. A lot of men, just like, okay, go home. We don't want any problems.
Yeah, you missed the first person going back to show you something.
Sure. It wasn't bad intention. I think they were scared.
No. This was in my elementary school book. And when we were taught about professions. Well, you see?
The boys' construction, yeah.
Yeah. While here, it's the woman nurse and the male doctor. So, yeah. We've been born into stereotypes and we've been born into gender discrimination. So it's really difficult to get out of it. So yeah, what I'm saying now is based on my PhD thesis, and I interviewed really educated, high educated people, both men and women, they were both chartered accountants or academics. And specifically one man, he was a partner at Deloitte in Cyprus. And he told me that he started with his wife. They met at a university, and they started working together. They started at the same job, with the same terms. And when they decided to have a family, because they have 3 children, somebody needed to change jobs, because being a partner at Deloitte is really demanding and takes a lot of time. And he told me that his wife had more potential than him at work, but they co-decided that she would be the one to change jobs, that she would be the one to spend more time with the children, because that's the way it is in Cyprus.
It just happens a lot.
Yeah, it does. And also, another man told me that he would be happy to spend more time at home with the children, but then his friends would make fun of him. So they don't do it, because that's the culture.
Did you do any research on that? In the Scandinavian countries where they have all this paternity leave and the men don't take it?
Yeah.
And Scandinavia is quite liberal with
well, in Cyprus we don't really we have paternity leave 2 weeks, but it's unpaid.
Oh,
so who can afford to take it?
Yeah.
And even if with women, the female academics that I interviewed most of them were mothers, and albeit the fact that we are allowed 4 months maternity leave and it's fully paid, they only take like 1 month because they needed to show face time at work, and because their career depends on that.
Presenteeism.
Yeah, you need to be present. So they were breastfeeding at work. They were really devastated, but because they needed to be there, they didn't even take the whole maternity leave.
Is there a governmental support for the child care?
No. We have public childcare facilities, but they just, they close at around 3 o'clock.
And there is maybe a very big difference for the private kindergartens and public kindergartens.
Just the money that you pay. But the time that they close is about the same. So if you need to work until 7 o'clock or 8 o'clock, it doesn't really make a difference. You need to have help. Well, in Cyprus we are lucky that way because grandfathers normally help the couple with childcare. But if you're not lucky enough, or if your parents are working as well, they're not retired yet, then you have a problem. And somebody has to stay home with the children from, let's say, 3 until 8. So
I was going to say that in some cultures, when there's a lot of extended family, you don't have the issue of childcare. Because there's, like you said, there's mama, papa, auntie, somebody's always there. But I know, like in the US and in the UK, childcare is so expensive, and grandparents tend to work, have their own lives. So it's much easier for someone to just give up their career and stay at home.
Yeah.
And usually the woman does that.
Yes, but that's the problem. Why should a woman stay at home? Okay, someone needs to stay at home, or perhaps you need to share the time. But why should always be the woman that stays at home? That's the main problem, because that's how we grew up. That's how we learn, and that's what we'll continue doing, because we don't know any other way. So, what happens if a woman wants a career? Well, she needs to be a superwoman, obviously, because she will have her career, she will be at her workplace, she will take care of the household chores, she will take care of the children, or perhaps do other activities or be involved in organizations like WEF-2017 or any other organization, or travel. But, okay, she can do it, she's allowed to do it, but she needs to do it all by herself. She needs to be a superwoman. So, is this fair? No. So what does we need to change? We need education. That's the basic for everything. For every change, you need education. But the books that I've showed you before, thank God they're changed to more diversified books. We have now male, nurses, or if they're called nurses. Yeah. Okay, and we have female doctors, and we can find a woman in the construction industry, and we have all kinds of people, black, white, yellow, brown, and so on. They're more diversified, but still, it's just a book. While we grow up, and well, not just when we grow up, we're being born, and if you're a girl, you wear pink, and if you're a boy, you wear blue. Doesn't happen everywhere. But why? You need to, have a gender-specific from the time you are born. So you need to start from there. You need to start at home. So you don't. If you watch your mother washing the dishes every night and cleaning the house, that's how you grow up. Even if you're a woman, you will do that at home. If you're a man, you will expect your wife to do that for you. So we need education. We need to train the parents to treat boys and girls the same way. And it will take time, of course, but you need to create awareness, and that's where all starts. Awareness and education. We need to train young couples to share the burden of household. It's happening. It is not so rare nowadays to share household chores. I don't know what's happening in your countries, but that's okay. Men can deal with washing some dishes or doing the laundry once a week. Yeah.
So I just wanted to say, since we are in India right now, I can give an Indian perspective. These stereotypes are definitely present in India to this day, but this generation, probably my generation onwards, there is a lot of change. Like you said, because of things like education, because of things like educated parents teaching their children that it doesn't have to be only the daughter who cleans dishes while the son does his own work. So things are changing, but only in the bigger cities, where there's more literacy and more awareness, and people are running campaigns on this now about how boys can cry and women can. Yeah. So
that's very interesting.
Yes. So otherwise in India they were always told men have to be strong and boys don't cry.
Exactly.
So, and that leads to a lot of domestic violence and things like that, because there's so many repressed emotions. So things are slowly changing.
Yes.
Hopefully next generation onwards, like you said, there might be some change.
Yes.
But yes, otherwise even India does have these stereotypes, yes.
Caribbean society is the same way.
Okay.
But it's changing because, like, for example, I never saw my dad wash a dish or do anything in the kitchen, but my brother washes dishes.
Good.
He, combs his daughter's hair. I mean, he's very involved in a way that my dad wasn't. Not good or bad, but just different, much more involved.
Yeah.
So I think, like she said, it's changing.
Yeah. Well, my dad, I grew up when my dad wasn't really doing anything. He was constantly on a couch watching TV. But now that, he sees me that I'm really frustrated with the situation during the past few years, he's more engaged. He can cook for us, and he can do the dishes, and he's more helpful with my mother and everything. And well, that's a good thing, because yes, you see people are changing, and somebody needs to let them know that they need to change in order to change. So if each and every one of us needs to do that and can do that, tell people that they need to change or see other perspectives as well. Well, what we need, I don't know how this is going to be done, from lobbying or so, but we need to introduce paternity leave, paid paternity leave, because it's not fair for women to take all the burden, first of all, and then second of all, it's not fair for a woman to be absent from her workplace for 4 months while her men counterparts are there. So they're giving FaceTime, so when it comes to promotions, who is going to get promoted? The one who is there. Yes? Hello, where are you from?
I'm from Mumbai. I'm the chairperson of Mumbai chapter.
Okay, welcome. And we have a man with us.
Well, I didn't get you. Can you please repeat the question?
I didn't ask the question, but I will ask you now. Do you think there is gender discrimination where you work, and do you feel that women get the same chances for promotion as men?
Maybe
Yes?
Yes.
So I'm a healer, and I have a patient who works in a corporate in Noida, and she was calling me and crying because she said, just because I had a baby and I was not at the workplace, my promotion has been stopped. Yes. My junior has been promoted, and she was very upset about it.
Yes, naturally.
So, and it's just recent. Yeah. So I totally agree.
So where do you work? I want to come and work with you.
But I feel like this is a problem everywhere.
It's everywhere.
It's not just, it's rich countries, it's poor countries, it's everywhere. I think if you're just fortunate to work for, people don't leave jobs, they leave managers. If you've got a really good manager in a somewhat progressive company, I think that helps. But I think wherever you go, women are struggling with this, and men with this issue.
Yes, I agree. Well, yes.
Maria, I think a lot of women also they feel guilty. It's that self-inflicted.
Yes.
Conflict, in a conflict of this. Yes.
Yes.
And
exactly.
then when they're with their kids, they want to be at work.
Yes, and vice versa.
Well,
and actually that gives a lot of scope to work from home. If we would make our work more flexible and allow the ladies to work from home.
Yeah, some companies are doing that, but not many companies and not many people accept it. Not just the managers, but your colleagues might not accept it and say, why is she working from home? She's not doing any work. She's just laying in bed all day or in the couch and watching TV. So maybe the colleagues will start saying, why is she doing that? Why does she get to do it? So I want to do it. And at the end of the day, nobody is going to be in the workplace. But yes, it depends on the manager. If you do have a good manager, you can make arrangements, and that would be very, very good. So we definitely need paternity leave. In Finland, they give 3 years parental leave, and it can be, yes, they can share between the mother and the father, or between
3?
Yeah, up to 3 years parental leave. And it's not, I think 1 year is paid for, and then it's not, but you are entitled to your job exactly as you left it after you go back. Yes?
Yes, but it's a problem again, because during the European Union integration period, the same law accepted in Turkey, but nobody, no father, wants to use this right. So maybe there is an obligation.
Yes, there should be
obligatory.
It
Otherwise,
should
the men
be. I
don't
agree.
want to use these rights.
Yes.
Very funny.
It's not funny because
all of the patriarchal structure is a big shame for the men to care their children.
Exactly. It's the same. It's the same in Cyprus. It says, if I stay home with my children, my friends will make fun of me. What are they going to say at work?
They feel emasculated, like they're not men if they're not out earning.
Yeah. You know what I mean? I'm a man, I need to be out earning. That's what makes me a man. And if he's at home with the kids, it's not, I don't think it's that he doesn't want to be with his kids, but it's, like you said, it's, what are my friends saying?
Yes, exactly. What would my friends say? And what would my friends and my family would say if my wife is earning more than me?
I actually call it henpecked. But they will tease him calling him henpecked husband. That's the word they use.
I actually heard a man say once that he was quite jealous of his wife because he felt like she had it better because she could stay at home, she could go out to work, she had more options. And as a man, he felt like he wanted to be with his kids, but he couldn't because the society wouldn't let him.
Yeah.
So I think even men want this, but they're struggling inside.
Yeah, some of them do. Some of them do, and it's a shame. So, if you have a compulsory paternity leave, then you have to stay at home. So everybody stays at home. So it's not an issue anymore.
Yeah.
Nobody can make fun of you because they will stay at home as well. So what do we do about it?
And then also to remove the threat of you losing your promotion or your job, we should measure the right things, outputs. You know, we should measure that and not present time, not time in the office, but rather results.
And actually, when I used to work with corporates, so I had a manager who would say, I was into sales. So he would say, this is your target for today, 400 pounds. You do it, you can go home in 2 hours. And if you don't do it the whole day, that's your problem.
Oh.
So I would finish it in 4 hours and go out.
That's good.
I've completed my target. You know?
Yeah.
So in fact, it increases your efficiency there.
Yeah.
You don't have to clock in those hours unnecessarily, so people are idling time. You know, they're more on the coffee machine than in their seats. So
yeah, unfortunately, in some jobs, you need to have face time. You need to be there. You need to be seen by other people, by your manager.
Yes.
Otherwise, it's like you haven't done anything.
Yeah. In India, forget the 9 to 5. The work starts after 5 because that is when they feel that if we stay in office from that 5 to 10, we'll be seen as hardworking and get the promotion faster.
Oh.
So they idle from 9 to 5. They're just passing their time around.
Okay.
And then when the managers, the bigger CEOs walk into the office after completing their meetings at 5 and they're sitting, so that's when they'll sit on their desk and pretend they're working.
Oh my God.
And everyone is on Facebook and Twitter.
Because they're playing the game.
They are
playing
playing.
They know what they need to do to get ahead.
Exactly.
So now it's a competition who goes home late.
Oh no.
So you went at 10, oh that's too early, I come at 12. What?
And you have to brag about it. I was here until 3
Oh.
and I had 20 cups of coffee and oh my God, it's a culture.
Yeah, it's a
culture.
And again, women can't do that because they have kids to go back home.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So then, for appearance's sake, it looks like it's the men who are working and not the women.
Well, and then they go home and they complain, I'm very tired from working all day, so you have to rub my feet or whatever.
good for me.
Yeah. Okay. I said before that there is a problem with childcare facilities. Either it's too expensive or it does not work after some time, at 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon. So what needs to be done is that we need to have extended childcare facilities that last until we get off work. Let's say 7 or 8 or I don't know. And it should be affordable to anyone. It should be public. And we don't have, in Cyprus we don't have that. We do have public, but it's only limited for people with low income, and the ones that are private are really expensive. But again, it's until 3 or 4 o'clock. So yeah.
So in South Africa, some companies have the childcare facility at their campus, at their offices. Yes, and that works well because but I don't know until time. I'm not sure about that, but I've seen that.
Yeah, that would be good. That would be excellent. I've asked this in my interviews, and one woman said, "No, I don't want my child to be here because I'll be worried all the time, and I will be, checking on him all the time." Well, it depends on how you say it. The important thing is that you have access to childcare facilities, so that you don't have to leave work earlier to take care of your child.
That started in India as well, in bigger cities again like Bombay and Bangalore, where you have a rough commute. So a lot of big schools in Bangalore, like very known schools, are sending their teachers, and then the corporates are obviously, the corporate houses are cooperating, and they are bringing expert teachers who come and they have a creche area, and they also have a teacher. I know women who do that, teachers who are now doing this for a living. Wow. So things are changing.
Oh, that's very interesting.
Yes.
See, I'm having new eyes now.
Exactly, new eyes.
Okay, we need mentoring. And we don't have many women at the top, so women normally seek other women to be mentored. But yes, we can have a man mentor as well.
Absolutely. I think men make good mentors.
Yes.
I have some good male mentors.
Yes, but women really, where I come from, women don't feel comfortable with older men. Perhaps it's the cultural thing that they may be, with the conservative society, that they may be misjudged, that something is going on, that there's something sexual going on between them, and that will be bad for both of them. So, but yes, we need to introduce in more companies. There are a few, there is mentoring schemes, but there is a need for mentoring, and that's one of the things that we do in BPW, the organization Business and Professional Women, and we have mentors, and your mentor doesn't have to be next door. It can be another woman in another country, in another sector, but she's there. You can Skype, you can call, you can email, and that's working well. So that's another way that mentoring can be done. Okay, family-friendly policies. We talked earlier about working from home, or taking some time off between work, in between, and taking your children home, and then returning, or I don't know. Any ideas of any other policies that can be implemented?
Like she said, most of the companies in Mumbai, I'm from Mumbai, so they're the bigger corporates, they are creating creches, and they are, creches so that the children can be.
Yes, that's a very good idea. That's a really, really good idea. And networking.
A lot of companies have started creating female networks within their businesses to support and encourage the women. So that women, if it's, say, one of the big four is women in whatever in the firm, and they'll have their get-togethers and their thing, and so that's I know there's been some backlash to that, however, but I think that's one way that they can get women to find other women mentors in the business.
Yeah, we have that in Cyprus, but it's a way of it's been seen by others, like there are women and they're going in their meet and they're having fun and they're doing their hair and their nails. Well, it's not like that, but you can. Yes, it's stereotype, but it's seen that way by men. And who makes the decisions?
I said doing your hair and nails is also therapeutic.
There's nothing wrong with you doing your hair and nails. It's just that at this particular event, we're not talking about that.
But the problem is that when women are excluded from men's network, where all the decisions are made, they're excluded from the decision making. So there needs to be a way so that men and women are
mingled together.
Yeah. Well, yes, we do have all women networks, and they're working just fine. But that's not the only thing that we need.
Somewhere, I feel the biggest problem with the policies is that the men make the policies for the women.
Yes, exactly.
There should be women who are making these policies for themselves.
But it's a male society, so the idea is that we need to change something. We need to do something to change this. You were saying?
I think we need both. I always use the analogy of one bird, and you've got this bird with two wings, and it's like you need both of the wings to operate together for the society to function.
Of course you
do.
do.
For a long time it's been just the wing, the male wing, and the woman is just he's doing all the work, flapping away, and the woman is kind of down here. And now the woman is picking up, and like the Icelandic minister said earlier, what's happening now in his country is that the women are outpacing the boys. So now the problem is tipping the balance the other way.
where the boys are now dropping behind in school, and that's not good either.
No.
So I feel that the society needs to have the
We need
complement each
equality,
other.
exactly.
The men and the women need to work together to make it work.
Yeah.
When and how that will happen is a completely separate
but
matter. But I
we
think
still
that's the
have
best
we still have a problem with jobs even. I have a friend who is a dancer, and he left Cyprus because it's not allowed in Cyprus to be a dancer. It means that you're. I'm sorry for saying this. It means that you're gay. Not that it's bad. And in Cyprus, it is bad to be gay nowadays. So we're like that. Not all the people, but yes, it happens. So if you want to do a career in a job that it's not your gender, it's not female if you're female, and it's not male while you're male, you leave, and it's not right.
Dance has always been the male as well.
Not in Cyprus. You can dance, but not be a professional dancer.
Dancers, classical dancers in India, male.
Yes. Well,
Male,
that's good.
The top dancers are male.
That's good for you, but it hasn't happened in Cyprus. So there are a lot of things that need to change, and it's not only for women, and it's also for men that need to change.
Yes, I think that's something I wanted to say. A lot of policies, programs focus on women. So women are doing all the changes, and men aren't being forced to change. So men have to change as well. Women can't be the ones making all the change all the time.
Yes.
The men so you need programs to focus on the men. So if it's at work, for example, where a woman is not comfortable having a male mentor, that's a bit of a shame, because there's a lot you can learn from a man in the workplace. But you need to train the man so that he understands, don't sit so close to her. You may not think of it in that way, but she may. Train him so that he understands the basics, because what may be normal to him may be uncomfortable to her. So I think they just need to be trained, and she needs to be trained, and then it's a good start.
Yes, in India now, sexual harassment laws are being put into place finally, and a lot of corporate workshops happen because women are coming out and actually talking, like you said, they're talking about how they are uncomfortable, who they are uncomfortable with. So now that's got the men running a little scared, which is a good thing. So women need to be more vocal, basically. So
well, and also men need to have rights as well. Well, when I interviewed the chartered accountants, they all told me that there was a mother scheme at place, and which means that the new mother is allowed to leave work earlier, and no pay cut, no nothing. Well, and then I asked them, are new parents allowed to that scheme? And they said, no, it's only for mothers. But why? Why can a new father be able to leave work a bit earlier to be with his child? And that's the beauty of being equal. It's not just, you have to have the same rights and the same responsibilities, of course, but you need to have rights as well. So, So, this is a chart that I did for my PhD thesis, which means that we need to change our culture. But in order for our culture to change, we need to use our agency. Agency means the way that we work for ourselves, that the way we, let's say in simple terms, we fight for our rights, or we change ourselves. So we need to change ourselves, we need to fight for our rights. Then, in parallel, the structures need to change. Well, as childcare facilities, public child facilities, paternity leave, mother's or father's scheme, and so on. And then the culture will change. But again, it needs time. It needs a lot of time. And we cannot expect for things to change from one day to another. And we all need to work towards that. Yes?
I sometimes feel that these things are a little cyclical in nature. Because even in India, for example, and in many other cultures around the world, there was a time, maybe centuries ago, when women were not just on par with men, but probably in many ways were more powerful. Like if you look at India's history, we have had legendary, not just goddesses, we've had queens, we've had female freedom fighters, we've had women being so strong and so powerful, and you're right, our goddesses, our Durga, we have a goddess called Durga who's sitting on a tiger or a lion, and she's fierce, and Kali, who's like a destroyer. So there was a time apparently in our history when women were shoulder to shoulder with men. But why and how did that change is the question. Men feared women. Somewhere along the line, they just started suppressing the women. This has happened in our country. And it's happened in so many cultures. Even if you look at the Nordic culture, women, they also have so many strong female icons, you know, who go out and fight and things like that. But today the world is at this stage now. So I don't know how, but it happens more. And yes, women start to get devalued.
Yes, but it can change if each of us changes and we advocate for structural change. It can change again, and also women need to believe in themselves more.
And each other.
And in each other, yes.
Because oftentimes women internalize misogyny, so then they do what men do to women to each other. And that's because they're disempowered, obviously.
Yes.
So they need to empower themselves and empower people around them.
Exactly, exactly.
And that takes time.
It does. Yeah.
That reminds me of something. Some time ago, I had a project that I was working on, and my lead on the project was the CEO of the business unit. And I think there were probably three of us ladies. But he's a very strong person and very out there in the digital world. Anyway, so the guidance he gave us and the brief he gave us, the direction he gave us on the project was quite far removed from the company's current strategy and interest in terms of risk. But we presented it to IXCO anyway after about 6 months of research, and they booted us out of there. And when I had a session with my mentor 2 days later, he said to me, "You disappointed me." And I said, "But why? It was a directive almost." And he says, "Yes, but you didn't bring all of you into the project. You discounted large chunks of who you are. You brought a male perspective because that's what you thought was expected in this environment. You thought like Jeff about this concept, about this perspective. And more than that, you brought a white male perspective in. If you had brought in, because we were looking at the mass market, which is the black market in South Africa, he said if you had brought in your perspective in terms of what you grew up seeing and experiencing and knowing, then you would have had a voice that they would have had to listen to. But you didn't. You thought like Jeff does. And I thought that is an important life lesson that I'm to carry with me. To bring all, as a woman, to bring all of who you are to your project. And that brings diversity.
Yeah, we need to embrace ourselves. We need to love ourselves. That's all we have. So, yes. Any last thoughts?
More women role models. And in Australia, this was what we went through in the 60s and the 70s. And now there are soap operas on house husbands. So when somebody in Cyprus or India sees the house husband shows on Australian TV and does the Indian version or the Cyprus version, and then all of a sudden it becomes a popular thing that it's accepted. So it's just a generational change, and Australia is very male. Was very male orientated, but there are. It doesn't mean that there is not a lot. There's still a lot to be done, but without women joining together, and BPW is one. Business Professional Women is one of those vehicles of women joining together. Or Ladies League is another. Socratous is another. Zonta is another, and women need to unite. And because I'm also help people in the fashion industry, women's empowerment and women feminism and women standing up and being strong is actually a fashion trend for 2018.
You're right. It's become
So
very
you will see many more slogans. You'll see on the high street. All of this that you're talking about is an actual fashion trend, which means it's becoming mainstream. So it's running more things in Cyprus, and it's running more things in India, and running more things in, is it Jamaica?
The Caribbean.
Caribbean.
Yeah.
Given workshops there as well.
Great.
It's about being visual and getting out there and saying these things and wearing these messages and embracing the other women and girls in your community?
Yes, thank you. So we need to advertise more of that change.
Yeah. You know, I'm learning though that no society is perfect, because recently I read some research that, you know, the Scandinavian countries are always lauded for their progression and how, you know, amazing they are in terms of gender. But within Europe, they've got the highest rates of domestic violence. The UN had a report on it, the BBC did a report on it. So even though they've got the 40-something% equality and the however much paternity leave, the men are domestically abusing the women. So the man feels emasculated, obviously, and this is what I would think this is leading to this domestic violence. So no society is perfect, which leads back to my point that you have to have the man and the woman working together. Yeah. Ultimately, it can't be the man doing everything, and it can't be the woman. It's got to have that balance. Otherwise, there's always going to be a social, some kind of social problem.
I agree. Any last comments?
Okay, I again would like to bring an ancient Indian perspective, which is that in India we have this god called the Ardhanarishwara, very, very ancient, more than thousands of years old. And this god is literally, there are images of this god. It's a man-woman. So half of the god is Shiva.
I've seen that.
You've seen that? And half of the god, it's literally two halves, a man and a woman together. So one half is Shiva, one half is Parvati. No one is less, no one is more. Both are sort of conjoined. Yes, masculine and feminine. And basically we believe, again, this is ancient belief, which means that we were very...
It used to be that way.
Yes.
Exactly. So what happened to us? Where did we go wrong? What happened?
So it is believed that ideally, whether you're a man or a woman, you should embody both the qualities of energy. Yes. It's just an energy. Yeah. So I think when we come from that feeling of energy, then we'll go beyond distinctions of man, woman. You know, man dresses this way, woman this way, blue, pink, whatever.
Exactly.
Genitals or whatever it is that we differentiate, that goes away. But that's a very, very enlightened way of thinking.
We should not limit ourselves by our gender. We are limitless. I mean, we are special.
We should think beyond gender.
We need to embrace this. So, thank you very much.
Thank you. Well done. That was very fantastic. Thank you indeed. I love these photos. Yes. And then I see them on Twitter the next day or on YouTube. So,
I like how even your laptop bag.
So what are you doing your PhD now, or have you completed it? What was your thesis?
My thesis is the impact of national culture on gender progression in the workplace.
The shopping in Istanbul was amazing, I remember.
Yes, exactly.
Well, actually, no, my
not very online shopping, not very
it was distance learning, part-time, and the only way that I could convince them to do that is because my thesis was on Cyprus, so...
Speaker in the middle, where is she?
थोड़ा पास से लीजिएगा फोन है ना उतना क्लियर नहीं
है।
Thank you very much. Oh, but you know, we had men in here during our conversation. We could have asked for their feedback.
Well, that was a once and then she left. She was running. Thank you. Oh, that's mine.
Are you on Facebook? Yes, I am. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, the whole social media.
Yes, some very good points. You are very
find much happening in South Africa, so please, if you guys have going
Well,
on.
Africa has a newsletter. I get it in Perth.
No, I was actually on there now.
And then he puts out an African newsletter.
Makes sense. Who's the lady? Who's the president? Because
She's the African president, Adiki. You email me and I'll
thank you. I would love to
connect
get
you to her.
involved.
Yeah, tomorrow I will leave, so I would
It was
like
such
to
a
say
pleasure.
bye-bye. Keep in touch. Many
Wonderful.
regards to your
Thank you to Tony.
Yeah, friends.
We'll do. And please do come visit us in South Africa sometime.
I hope so.
Ah.
I'll take one of the three of you.
The last time is Women for Water Partnerships and Water for all of that.
No,
So I was there, but
Azul.
okay.
Okay, I will see you again. Sorry. I'm very sorry.
I'm leaving tomorrow, but
But we are connected on Facebook,
Yes,
and
yes.
I've got your card. Okay.
Take care.
Okay, thank you, Joanne. Thank you so much.
You wanna join us?
Okay.
Wait. Powerful women, yeah. You have to be in the picture.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Congratulations, that was very good.
Incredible.
Alright? Well done.
Very nice PhD.
Well done.
Thank you. I'm going upstairs to change my shoes and
Yes, I'm coming with you.
Yes.
I'm coming with you.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah.
Today. Enjoy
Exactly. It was very exactly.
Oh, stunning. Yeah, I went for one else last night.
You went for a massage was okay for you. Around
But my quiet, but at least body.
Did you try meditation?
Not here.
Yeah.
I mean, not here. Yes, but I do my one.
For your support.
Actually, I took you about once you
Thanks a lot.
No, you
do
can
need that.
start from now. Being visuals.
On your vision as well. I asked.
We need a bottle of wine. You need to look at all the things you can post. All the things you can
Meditation. Yeah.
posting on the BBW site. The stories that should be going out.
She's just fantastic. Yes.
You with other members doing something. You might great presentation from my roommate. You know what I mean?
She speaks. She guides you. So I would suggest you give her.
Thank you very much.
It was such an honor.
Yes, you too.
Keep in touch. Of course, we're going to see you in Cyprus.
Yes.
You're more
welcome.
up there.
More than welcome. Okay.
Thanks, Maria.
See you.
With you. Yes. It's been lovely. It's been awesome. Thank you. And you?
I do. Okay. And I actually have mine as a PDF. So, okay, so.
Do you need someone to manufacture the presentation for you?
Yeah.
There it is.
Not bad. I'm the first
I
one.
think I would have one mutual friend. That's why.
Who's our mutual friend? Somebody from all ladies.
Okay, I'll be right back.
Very nice
Very
meeting
nice
you.
to meet you too.
Thank you. And we'll keep in touch on meeting in the morning. So tomorrow,
Okay.
4 o'clock in the morning.
That's Cyprus?
Yes. I was just here for 3 days.
Oh, hectic.
Yes, and that's a shame because I didn't see any of India.
You must come back.
Yes.
You must come to Bangalore, my city. I will see you.
Yes, that's a promise. And I will need to come for vacation, not having any conferences or anything.
I know,
So
yeah.
I didn't see anything, and my friends in Cyprus would make fun of me because that's what I do.
You just saw the first
Yeah, I go to conferences and okay, well, how was the town? How was the city? And I don't know.
Are you here for your company or
No.
no? Okay, on your own.
Yeah.
Okay. So I have a card, right? And you have my business card.
But I have you on Facebook. That's okay.
Yeah, I know. That's actually better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Very nice meeting you.
Same here.
Good luck with everything else, and I'll see you.
Yeah. Bye.
When are you leaving?
An hour earlier than I should.
Oh, so this is it. No, con el tigre de nombrado.